closed it happily to focus on the small business advocacy work that I do. And I've been the director of the Fillmore Merchants now for about 5 years. And during COVID, I started an agency called Next SF, and we create private-public partnerships to promote small business in the neighborhood corridors of the city. So I've been working with Square, Cruise, the car driving company, some community benefit districts around the city, DoorDash, and I'll be working with Alaska Airlines too to promote small business and neighborhood corridors. It's exciting. I'm sure you see my invites every once in a while, so I hope you can join. May is National Small Business Month, so we're creating programs around small business in San Francisco, and it's also APA Heritage Month as well. So we want to promote our Asian Pacific Islander small businesses as well. So we'll be highlighting some Asian small businesses around the city as well. So the Fillmore Merchants is about 115 years old now. It was started after the '06 earthquake to promote the economic vitality of the Fillmore corridor after the '06 earthquake. Fillmore was sort of not touched by the fire. The fires that ravaged the east side of the city. Van Ness was actually the firewall. So a lot of the fires didn't come over. That's why a lot of our buildings on the Fillmore corridor are original. They're like pre-1906. And our boundaries are from Jackson to McAllister. There's over 200 merchants on the street. And the role of a merchant association is we help oversee the maintenance, security, and marketing of the corridor. So obviously everybody's in startup mode. We need to share best practices, learn from one another. And again, thank you for your participation with these meetings. It's been really helpful. So there's a few housekeeping rules. Patty, this webinar is being recorded, right?
Yes, it is.
Excellent. So if you missed something or want to share it, we'll post it on our Facebook group. And if you want, we can send you an email copy of it as well. If you have any questions, please post your questions in the Q&A section, and we'll ask these questions to the guests or to one another after the program is over. So let's start. So our agenda for the day is we'll start with introductions around the room. We'll go to our guests, and then we'll go to street talk, and finally we'll open it up to discussion. So Patty, do you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. First of all, I can't wait until we can, when you said around the room, I had this visceral feeling about being in Zinc Details or any of the other mini meetings that we gathered, and I thought, I cannot wait for that to happen. So I'm Patty Mangan. I have a graphic design business, marketing, branding, and so on since 1985 over here on Battery Street. And I've been working with the Fillmore Merchants Association since around 2000, I believe, and doing marketing, branding, communications, membership, whatever support I can to the organization to help the merchants be connected and to be informed and to support VOS.
Thank you. By the way, if you're not speaking, please put yourself on mute. And then just tell us about yourself, your business, and any news from your business. Patty?
Yeah, so on Sunday, I don't know if you noticed, but one of the other roles I have this year is I'm Commodore of the Pacific Interclub Yacht Association, which is 107 yacht clubs in Northern California. So it's a mother organization, and we put on opening day on the bay, which is a 100-year tradition of bringing out boats on the bay to open up the season. And we brought out the San Francisco Fireboat and the Coast Guard and the Coast Guard Commander, and about 50 boats showed up in the pouring rain to put on the parade, and we got amazing coverage in the Chronicle. So it's my year to try to make the most out of a pandemic. And I'm having
excellent.
So just a little bit about me. Go ahead.
Congratulations. All right, so Warren, you're next.
Warren Donian, oops, let me adjust, there we go. Warren Donian with Vivus. We are a commercial printing company specializing in interior graphics, wall and window graphics, vehicle wraps, and other types of oversized prints. located here in San Francisco. And while some people had some bad news last year, we had some good news. We're SF Business Times Fast 100 company.
Wow, bravo.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah.
Howard, you're next.
I want to see it. Okay, Howard Reinstein. I'm the manager. I'm the manager of Vanguard Properties. We're the only remaining large independent real estate firm, probably in the whole Bay Area, and we're fiercely independent, and we're very community oriented, and we're in a number of the communities in San Francisco, and we like to be actively involved. Personally, I've been in real estate for over 30 years.
And Howard, again, where's the store located?
Fillmore and Sutter.
That's right. That's right.
Right on the
And
corner
Vince, you're next.
Can I just add one thing?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's almost embarrassing, and I feel for everybody, but real estate has done well, and we have continued to do well. And
Unbelievable.
it is unbelievable. We expected a downturn in the market, and went in the total opposite direction. We had our best week ever this week in real estate, our company. So I feel for everybody.
That's amazing.
I've lost some of my favorite restaurants in town. It's tough. We're here to help.
Thank you. Vince?
Do you want me to make a quick intro, or you want me to give my presentation?
Do your quick intro, and then if time permits, then you can have more time, and after the other speakers talk.
Sure. I'm Vince with a campaign I started called Refuse Refuse. And what I'm trying to do is just clean up our streets and neighborhoods, and just an effort, kind of grassroots, to get volunteers to come out and clean. And so I'm working with merchant associations to focus on commercial corridors in our initial efforts. I've done some waste audits on Fillmore, and which I share with VAS, and I can share more if time permits. And I think you'll find that pretty interesting, but it benefits everybody, especially the merchants, if we can keep the shopping experience cleaner and safer, and also, promote that for people to come back as you guys reopen. And so we're committed to that, and I'm just getting started, but I have a lot of ideas and want to share with the merchants and want your support. So, I appreciate the opportunity to share this.
Thank you, Vince. Phoebe, you're next.
Hi, my name is Phoebe Hansen. I'm the store director for Byredo. We're on Fillmore and Pine. Byredo is a European luxury brand. We're probably most known for our fragrances, makeup, and home collections. So Fillmore Street is our 4th store in the US, and we just opened at the end of December. We've got a lot of new fragrances and launches coming up in the next couple of months, so definitely stop by. We always have something new.
And guys, this is my little tester here. It keeps me sane during the day sometimes. So go in and smell, because it's really it's awesome. It's a great smell. Nahama, just briefly introduce yourself.
Yeah, everyone, my name's Nahama. I work with the SFMTA as a public relations officer. I work primarily with small businesses in all over the city, but the Vandals Improvement Project.
Thank you. And Hank, you're next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Hank Wilson. I lead the curb management team at the SFMTA. So we regulate all on-street parking, residential parking, meters, loading zones, all that sort of stuff. And Kenya is my colleague on the team, and he'll be presenting briefly about a possibility of modernizing parking meter hours on Fillmore and surrounding areas. So thanks for having us.
Awesome. And Chandler is next, and Chandler is one of our board members at the Fillmore Merchants Association. So welcome aboard.
Yes. Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I'm at the store right now. I'm Chandler Tang. I am the owner and founder of Postscript. We are a gift shop at 2413 California Street. A lot of greeting cards, a lot of great gifts. No new news, but we're hanging in there, and we have a pretty strong online store, which is keeping us afloat. So excited to be here.
Excellent, thank you. And Pam Mendelson, briefly introduce yourself.
Everyone. I'm Pam Mendelson. I'm with Maven. You guys have probably seen my signs up and down the street. I'm a broker, and trying very, very hard to get all of our storefronts filled with good tenants, non-competitive, good tenants in the market.
Excellent. And Pam will give a more comprehensive report on the state of retail and some of the vacancies on our street too. So Kenya, you're next.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kenya Wheeler. I work with Hank on the MTA's parking and curb management team, and I'm the project manager for the extended meter hours project.
Thank you. And Diane, you're next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Diane, and I am the manager at Margaret O'Leary at the corner of Fillmore and Washington. We are a luxe boutique for women's clothing, and we're just getting in our new spring both cotton and linen collection. So we'd invite you to come and say hello. We did have an incident recently with the thief that's been hitting some of the stores on Fillmore. So we do have our door closed and locked, but you know, are available if anyone wants to come in.
Thank you. And Timothy Omi from Liberty Cannabis. He's also one of our new board members with the Fillmore Merchants. So welcome aboard.
Hey guys, how's it going? Honor to be a board member. It's been about 3 years plus with you guys. So yeah, we opened 4 months ago. Had our busiest day last week with 420. So I'm an owner of the store, and you know, definitely want to contribute to the vitality and growth of our neighborhood. So it's an honor to help with that and you know, be the only cannabis store around.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Dave Sahagan, my friend, you're next.
Thank you, Voss. How are you?
I'm doing great.
I'd like to say hi to everybody. My name's Dave Sahagan. I own Pacific Heights Chevrons over on California and Steiner. I also have a Chevron station in Castro and Market. I've been in business for about 40 years. I'm actually the representative of Fillmore Merchants Associations with the Council of District Merchants. And I've worked with Voss on a lot of legislative stuff. So I bring your input to the Council of District Merchants, which is an umbrella group of small businesses throughout San Francisco. We have, I think, about close to 30 neighborhood associations that we represent. And we're very involved with the city hall. So if there's anything that you need to be brought up to the council, you can always check with me. I'm at work all the time. In fact, I'm at work now. My station is down. So I have to leave because basically the computer's crashed and we can't pump gas.
Oh,
So I have an emergency, but I just wanted to say hello to everybody and let you know that if there's anything that you need concerning communications with the Council of District Merchants or the city, please let me know.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks for everything that you're doing. Dave is also a legacy small business advocate in San Francisco. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So Audrey Moy, you're next.
My name is Audrey Moy. I'm a retired San Francisco DA investigator. I'm retired, and I'm a crime prevention specialist, and I help some of the merchants on Fillmore regarding shoplifting or any fraud. And I'm actually putting together some of the grab and runs, a spreadsheet, and working with Northern Station to see if we can find out who these people are.
Thank you. And Audrey and I are on Northern Station CPAB group. That's the Community Police Advisory Board. We just had a meeting last night, and maybe Audrey can report some of the crime stats that are in our neighborhood too later on. Edna Lee, you're next.
Hi, I'm Edna Lee. I don't know if you can see my video or not. Let me see. Not that you need to. Okay. So my husband and I own Envision Optometry on Fillmore between Bush and Pine, and we just celebrated our 26th year there.
Wow.
So we are the doctors of optometry. We provide primary eye care, and we have a beautiful selection of frames. Everything at this time is by appointment only, with safe protocols and disinfected frames that get tried on. So we've been happy on Fillmore for 26 years and are hopeful for the future.
Thank you. And Christy?
Hello.
Hi,
Can you
Christy.
hear me? Okay.
Yep.
I mean, I guess you can see me. I'm lounging.
Oh, there you
Sorry.
are.
Hi guys. This is my first Fillmore Merchants Association meeting, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so my husband Eric and I own Traybert Goldsmiths at the top of Fillmore in Washington. We've been there 19 years in October, and things have definitely been chugging along. We're unfortunately also by appointment only now, and excuse me, our door is locked because of the high crime also on our street, but we're there and we're hoping that we can see bigger changes on Fillmore Street, since we definitely have seen the thriving boutiques over the last 20 years. So we'd like it to come back. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Judy, you're next. Judy. Okay, we'll go to the 415-812-814 number.
Hi. As I said, I'm not a merchant. We have passed one another for the past 13 years in the street, because I always came into your store and looked around and said, wow, and anyway, but one thing I assume that you are all aware of is that tomorrow night there's the Fillmore Heritage Center community information session talking about reactivating the space beneath my building, which is 1310 Fillmore. Yoshi's now the addition. But they're talking about reactivating that, and I think it would have an impact on everyone. It had a fairly interesting close down after an event down there. I won't editorialize, but since I live directly above that space, but if anybody wants to, are you all aware of this tomorrow, that this meeting is going to go on? Because I think it'll affect the neighborhood profoundly if it reopens.
Yes, send it to me and then I'll share with the merchants.
Okay.
We need to get on with our speakers because they're gonna. Oh, Judy, you're on.
How do I send it to you? I'm a technophobe.
Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, or I'll give you my email and then you can email it to me.
Yes,
I'll put my email in the chat. Okay. Judy, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Judy Slosky, and I've been active in the association for many years. I do health insurance, mainly for groups, health insurance and individuals, and stay healthy. And I'm very impressed with how the city is dealing with COVID. And I look forward to seeing you all in person. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It looks like Mio is on as well. Mio, can you introduce yourself? Tell us about your business briefly, and then we'll start with the meeting.
Okay, Mio Ota with Mio on Fillmore between California and Pine, women's clothing and some men's. That's about it.
Great, thank you so much, Mio. So let's start with our guests, our friends at MTA. What new plans do you have now? And how will it benefit our merchants?
Great. Well, thank you, Vaz, for the opportunity to present to the Fillmore merchants, and thank you all for we're honored to be here presenting to you on our proposal for modernizing San Francisco's parking meter hours. And we'll explain how this is a tool that regulations that we expect will help merchants. Vaz, can you set me up to share my screen?
Patty will do it.
Oh my goodness. I am trying to solve. Okay.
No worries.
Hold on. I could have used a little warning here.
While we're waiting, Audrey, can you share some of the crime stats that the captain went over last night?
Hang on a second. Basically, the only thing I have was what's going on Fillmore Street. I didn't copy everything down.
Okay, no worries. Yeah.
I can tell you.
Patty, just tell us when you're ready, and then.
I'm making you the host because throwing this at me right now in the middle of what I'm doing isn't working for me. So
Audrey, you can present after.
you're the host, boss. So if you want to.
Oh. You have to make Kenya the host. I don't have. Okay, Kenya, can you do your presentation without visuals?
No. I'll make him the host. I'll make him the host. Let me find it.
Sure. No.
Okay, Kenya. Sorry for the delay.
No worries.
Okay.
I am now the host, and I will share my screen, and we'll get the show rolling. All right. So, can everyone see the title slide?
Yep.
Excellent. All right. So we'll jump right into the presentation here. So parking meters are designed to help businesses. The reason why we have parking meters in San Francisco is really to provide parking availability for customers, to help our business communities stay vibrant and active for those who aren't able to walk, bike, or take transit to conduct commerce or get around the city. And this presentation is really going to be focused on business because we're speaking today to you, business owners, and we want to make sure this is relevant.
Kenya, your voice is kind of fading in and out. Can you do something about that?
Let's see here.
Maybe put the microphone closer to your mouth.
Does this sound a little better?
I think it's better for now. Yeah.
Okay. So parking meters are our primary tool for keeping parking spaces available for customers to use. And we know that this is a really critical feature for our commercial district, especially given the context of aiding our small businesses and recovering from the pandemic. Parking meters really help reduce circling. They provide the spaces that accommodate vehicles so we don't have double parking. And they also really illustrate the trade-off that we have living in a dense city like San Francisco, where you can have free parking and you can have available parking, but you really can't have both. So there is a trade-off that we have to make living, working in the city to make the curb available for everyone. Now, our meter hours that we have now, which run from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., are a bit of a relic from a older era. The image you see here on the left is Mayor Frank Lapham, and that he's actually the first meter in San Francisco back on Polk Street in 1947. Our meter hours were set then because that at 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. because that's when businesses were open. But the business hours in the 1940s are not the hours that we have in 2021. We recognize that during the pandemic, a lot of businesses have had to close early for 2020, and we expect this year business will be back opening early from 8 a.m. all the way till 10 p.m. or even later, as we see before the pandemic and we see across the city. So yet our meter hours really haven't changed to reflect the realities of businesses opening after 6 p.m. And that has meant is that in many parts of the city, we see a crunch for the spaces that are available for people to use for parking. This graphic illustrates data that was actually collected along Post Street during the SF Park pilot program, where we had parking sensors in several commercial districts throughout the city. So this is very close to essentially intersecting Fillmore Street. And what the imagery shows here, and I'll just highlight it, is that between the hours when the meters stop operating, 6 to 10 p.m., and where we have a lot of business activity, people going out to eat for dinner, staying out for drinks, going to the kabuki for catch a movie, those are the times when we see the highest parking occupancy. So that means when you see numbers that are in the 88, 90% tile range, that means that almost every space block is full. That's when you have the cars double parked, people, if you're seeing people maybe done yourself, stopping, waiting for a space to open up. And that creates congestion that just frustrates customers and creates a really negative experience for people wanting to come to Fillmore and take in the great businesses that we have on the quarter. And we also see that on Sundays as well. You can kind of see this illustrated here during the 6 p.m. Similarly, high parking occupancy, so that again we see the same issues as people are going to brunch, that folks are having to serve. Now, and then this graphic just highlights what we did see in 2013. Some of you may remember January 2013 to June of 2014, we had Sunday parking meter hours in San Francisco. And what this graphic shows is what happened once the hours were in place. We saw that we had Sunday metering, parking occupancy dropped. People who needed to park were able to find park. Those who needed to move their, didn't need to have their car there for the entirety of the day would move their car. And that created space that those going out to brunch, those going to go to the store afternoon, were able to find space. And so that drop here actually means that there's space for your customers to come and engage in business on a Sunday. So, and this is something we are not just seeing here in San Francisco. This is something that we have seen in other major cities across California as well. That is that our parking meter hours in the evening do provide availability. And we do actually have, right now in San Francisco, in areas like Fisherman's Wharf, along the Embarcadero, in Mission Bay and South Beach, we operate parking meters in the evenings and in special event Sundays. In fact, in Potrero Hill, the 18th Street corridor, the merchants are asked us to add evening metering because of parking availability issues. So we've been operating meters there for about a year now in the evenings. So this is our proposal, and that would be to modernize the parking meter hours by essentially adding in a additional time band, an evening block from 6 to 10 p.m. where we would run our meters initially as low as 50 cents an hour. These are the rates that are currently in effect in Mission Bay. As you can see, the rates do vary by time of day, and evenings right now they're the lowest rates. What we would likely do is use the rates from 3 to 6 p.m., extend those into the 6 to 10 p.m., but that actual rate, is subject to review, or we finalize that. And we would do the similar addition of hours for Sundays. And for Sundays, we would be adding from noon to 6 p.m. meter hours and utilizing the rates that we already have in effect on Saturday. So we know those are rates that people already are paying on weekends. And just to give you a little bit of context, our rates in San Francisco are set by demand. So we don't, it's not like other cities where it's sort of arbitrary by what may be dictated by the elected officials. Our rates are set by the amount of utilization of parking. So we actually have an algorithm that runs, and on blocks where there's a lot of demand, the parking rates go up. When the demand drops, parking rates actually decline. And we change our rates during the pandemic. We've now been changing our rates every month. So we've been working to be very flexible so that areas that are struggling are actually seeing rates drop. Areas that are rebounding are seeing rates increase. Now you might ask, we know this is a difficult time for businesses. I mean, as was counted by some of the introductions, there's a lot of restaurants we used to go to for the pandemic that are closed, and we know that this is a challenging time for a lot of businesses. But we feel this policy would actually help our recovery, because as more people are now starting to come back to the city, there's been reductions in we've moved down to the red tier. There's talk that San Francisco will be moving to the yellow tier soon. There's going to be more and more reopening of society. That's going to be more activity. And so the meters are really the best tool that we have to provide the parking availability that you need to get your customers to your business. We also understand, Muni has had to curtail a lot of our transit service. I'm happy to announce that, May 15th, we will be bringing back, the Muni Metro service in the Market Street subway all the way to West Portal. We'll be also adding back some additional bus service. But we do recognize that for a lot of people, especially for regional visitors, driving is still the best option. BART hasn't resumed their regular service yet. So we recognize that we need to have a tool that helps to better manage those who have to drive to get to Fillmore and other parts of the city. And so we're really looking at this as like another component, just as we have shared spaces that are providing a lifeline for businesses to have outdoor dining, for having drop-off zones for those who are coming by to pick up items back when you were having just curbside retail. This is another part of the toolkit to help our business community recover from the pandemic. And you're probably all aware that Mayor Reed has announced legislation to make shared spaces permanent, and we know that that's not going to really go anywhere. And so that also does mean that you have to be more astute about how we are managing the parking spaces that we have available for our customers, for our fellow residents to use. So this is a map of the current parking regulations and boundaries of the Fillmore Merchant Association, from Jackson Street down to McAllister. And these little gray dots and green dots, these are representing parking meters along Fillmore, as well as on some of the cross streets like California and Post and Sutter. I just wanted to highlight that we recognize that there's also a lot of residential around the Fillmore Street and Merchant area. We are not planning to adjust the residential parking permit program as part of this. We're only going to be focusing on meters, but we will be monitoring as part of the evaluation of this program, parking availability for our metered areas, and we'll be monitoring the residential areas. And so if there are any issues, we will definitely work to intercede and resolve those. We are also still working out the exact boundaries for where we would have extended metering in the Fillmore area. It could go as far as Jackson, but we have also spoken with merchants in the Japantown area. In fact, we're going to be talking to them just a couple of minutes from now. And we've received some support from the leadership in the Japantown CBD for adding extended metering in Japantown as well. So we really see that this could be a really great unit with Fillmore and Japantown working together to provide that availability that your customers will need as they're coming back to shop. Now, this is our schedule for how we are preparing to roll this out. Right now, in this first phase where we're determining appropriate neighborhoods, again, we've talked with talked to Voss in the past, and I'm presenting to you tonight. We've spoken with Japantown. We've also gotten support from leadership in the Jackson Square area, and we're going to be speaking to their merchant association as well in the upcoming weeks. Our proposal is that we're going to do a phased rollout in areas where we have support based on these meetings like tonight, and we will be rolling this out. Our hope is that we'll, with enough support, be rolling this out starting this summer, and then looking at rolling out future phases subsequent to summer of this year. And there'll be an extensive campaign. We actually we'll be coming to come back to you because we really want to make this program work for you and be in partnership so that we get information out to your customers, to your staff, your workers, so that there's a robust campaign of media, posters in the stores, flyers handing out to customers. And we're also going to be giving a lengthy period of warning notices. So even when this goes into effect, we won't be issuing tickets right off the bat. We'll actually be giving people notices to let them know that, hey, this is now an evening meeting area. Next time you come back, make sure you pay before we start citations. And with that, that's the end of my program. Our project website and email address is here. You can, for more information, you can send us an email to get on our mailing list. And you can also email Hank, Nehama, or myself directly.
Hey, Kenya, I had a quick question for you. Which neighborhoods have these extended hours now?
So currently, we have, so Fisherman's Wharf has extended hours in the evenings. We also have extended hours along the Embarcadero from Fisher's Wharf south all the way to South Beach. The South Beach area around Oracle Park, Mission Bay, usually from Rosa up to China Basin. And then Potrero Hill, the 18th Street corridor also has. And in addition to those, we also have eating metering in our metered lots across the city. So meter lots that we have in areas like Inner Sunset, Marina District, Mission, and our MTA garages, there also are running evening hours as well.
Okay. And the neighborhoods that you're planning to roll this out across the whole city, or you're doing now you're adding possibly Fillmore, Japantown, Potrero Hill?
We're planning to do this in a phase format. So
phase.
Our concept will be that our first phase, it could be Fillmore and Japantown. And then we would be rolling this out to other neighborhoods as we, across the city.
There is no possible about it, boss. It's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
So this is Tim with Liberty Cannabis. This is already happening. So anything we say is not going to really mean anything.
Well, I mean, we have got direction from our board of directors about 2 years ago to move forward with this as a strategy for the city. But we were also told that, make sure that you get support from the merchants and that you're doing this in a way that it helps helps you bring your customers in. So that's why I'm here tonight, and we've been the boss and others. So really, we're something that we want to bring in to really, again, give you the opportunity for those complaints that you get from customers who are circling around looking for parking will be diminished once this.
I mean, it'll certainly be better for turnover.
Unfortunately, all of the neighborhoods that you suggested are high corridor, high traffic. Our neighborhood, I feel like, is a place where people not only work, but they live. So, I mean, I personally think that, knowing this neighborhood, like from 6 to 10, it's really just the restaurants that are busy. So I'm not in favor of this, project at all, but it doesn't really matter.
So can I jump in for a second, Kenya?
Sure, now.
Part of the reason that we're going around and we're doing these meetings with different merchant groups is to really understand, Tim, what you're talking about, each neighborhood's makeup is and what would be most helpful. Even though this is something that is eventually going to be rolled out across the city, we want to only start it in neighborhoods that are supportive. We also want to understand, are there ways to tweak the program to make it fit the neighborhood better? So the hours could be slightly different, or in some areas, for example, that have religious services on Sunday, or areas where people go out to dinner and a movie and they want longer time periods. We might make it that you can pay for 4 hours or as many hours as you want, and not just have it be the 2-hour maximum that you see in most of the cities. So we're here to sort of understand what it would take to make it helpful to all of you.
So remind me, are people paying meters on Sundays? I'm confused.
So right now, people are in most parts of the city, but people do not pay meters on Sundays. At some of our meters, they do, but in most areas, it's free on Sundays. And the point about the, just to echo what Yama is saying, that we have gotten feedback from others about concerns about how if this program would work for their areas. So we do have space within the program to make changes to really work out how we could tweak it to make it work. We are proposing that to that point that we would remove time limits so that after 6 p.m. or Sundays you could prepay for an entire stay. So if you're going to stay for 4 hours or 6 hours, the appointment.
I have time here, and I'm not a merchant, but I work with merchants all day long. And I feel like I'm merely saying this so that maybe it gets relayed back to the mayor. I feel like there's been so much done for restaurants, all the parklet, and it's all great. But for the people that sell goods that are actual retailers and not restaurants, I feel like those are the people that are really struggling right now. And those are the people that need to have parking be available and be inexpensive so that the customers come. I feel like there's so much emphasis put on the restaurants and it's not fair to the retailers. And I don't know how that's ever conveyed back to the mayor, but that's a major issue. You can't park in the neighborhoods right now because there's so many parklets. If you want to shop and you can't carry, say you want dog food and you go into a pet store and you can't schlep it and there's nowhere to park in front. I think there should be some attention paid to the retailers as much as there is attention paid to the restaurants. That's all I want to say. And I think someone should be looking at the parking costs during the day so that the daytime merchants are supported as well.
Sure. Well, thank you for that, Pamela. That's a really great point to bring up. And there are a couple items that we're looking at to help retailers. As part of the shared spaces permit legislation, there is a new type of zone that's being proposed that would be like a sort of a, this is not a technical term, but it would be like a super loading zone, so that if you're coming in to pick up a big bag of dog food from a pet store, you need to stay for 5 minutes. You could actually pull in, make that transaction, and you wouldn't. Currently, in our white zones, you have to attend to be at the vehicle. With this new type of zone class, you could stop, do that quick 5-minute move, and you wouldn't have to worry about getting a ticket because our parking enforcement folks would know that's the zone for those kinds of activities. Something we're planning that's being proposed. It's in the mayor's legislation. If that's approved by the board of supervisors, that would be able to put that in place in Fillmore and in other areas. The other thing I would add is that, I mentioned that the idea about the time limits, but what we have found is that when you do start charging for parking, because you have to pay, people do think in their mind, oh, maybe I don't necessarily need to keep my car here for as long as I normally would, and move their car. And so we do actually see availability opening up. And so we understand that definitely for merchants, especially those who aren't restaurants, you got to have that availability for someone to come in, make a quick purchase of the perfume or the greeting cards.
Yeah.
By having meters in place, we can actually get that availability to happen. If there are merchants that actually need more frequent turnover, we do also offer what we call green cap or short-term parking meters, where there's a really limited time limit, like a 15 or 30 time limit. So those are something that we can actually work. And in fact, if there's something that your future tenants are interested in, we'd be happy to work with you on making sure we can get those meters cited by those businesses so that they have that extra turnover for them.
Yeah.
That was
Kenya,
when I was
I-
actually,
yeah.
oh, sorry. This is
go
Christy
ahead.
with Traybert Goldsmiths. I was just going to ask about limiting, having limited time meters placed in front of certain stores. I mean, for me, if someone's coming in, and they have a jewelry repair that's going to take maybe 5-10 minutes and they're circling, the neighborhood looking for a meter, it's just really inconvenient. So if they had, I think the people that stay at the hour-long meters, you can continue to put money in all day long, and stay there for 8 hours. So those cars aren't moving, but if there's 30-minute meters or 15-minute meters, I think there's definitely more of a chance that there's a turnover. That just seems a little bit easier.
Definitely, and that's definitely something that we have. That tool is available, and we can put that out. We usually don't only deploy those where merchants request them, because again, we want to make sure that those meters are in the right places. But need to work with you, work through Voss, and go out there and do some surveys.
Yeah. Listen, it's 5:50 now. We need to keep this meeting moving. If you guys have any questions, reach out to Hank, Kenya, Nahama. Their emails are on the screen. It's an important conversation to have. I know when I had a store, I loved it when there were meters and people had to come in, go out. On Sundays, I hated it because they would leave the cars in front of my store all day long. So I'm actually in favor of Sunday meters because it keeps the traffic going. And at the end of the day, we do have 2 parking lots in the neighborhood to Japantown and the one across from Molly Stone's. So anyway, to be continued. Thank you, MTA, for presenting. Appreciate your time. Pam, are you ready to give your state of the street address?
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Vas. Thank you, everyone.
I'm absolutely
Thank
ready.
you.
Thanks, Kenya. Okay, so I'll just try to ramble off. Should I start with the good stuff or the bad stuff first? Let's see. So in 2040, the former Ralph Lauren, I think you guys all know that Lululemon is in for approval. We had a spa offer on the top level that was really far in negotiations in a lease and fell apart, but we now have a new offer. So I feel like that spa is probably going to be replaced by another spa.
Which location is that, Pam?
2044, the International Orange.
Oh, okay, upstairs. Okay.
There is a lease out in 2105, which was Atelier Cologne, and it's a good tenant. It's a good tenant. 2053 has a lease out, and I expect that signed. And there is an assignment going on in what was Goop in 2121. There are two very, very good tenants that have been vying for it. The landlords decided who they're going forward with. There are offers in at Alice and Olivier, which we expect to go forward. And then beyond that, Lux, which is a jewelry store, is trying to get final approval.
Can you mute yourself, please? Patty, mute everyone except for Pam.
Okay.
So in space 1942, which was the former Alexis Bichar, Fiat Lux is trying to get their final permit on the 1st, and they will open right away. Some of the things that have gone the opposite direction, I heard Frida Salvador is leaving, which is very sad. Like her, she's a independent merchant. The equipment's available in Joie. We have offers on both. Fresca has finally given up, and there are many people that want that space. And then the Grove is going to close, and there are already offers in on it. So I would say just in general, I'm going to use Hayes Valley as an example. I think I had 11 vacancies in Hayes. I'm down to 2, and I feel like Fillmore's catching up to what was happening on Hayes Valley, and it's there's starting to be a lot of offers. In fact, while I was on the phone, I got an offer for James Perth while we were on the phone. I just looked down and had an offer. So things are really picking up. I think for us, the challenge is finding merchants that don't overlap with other merchants. We're doing our best to kind of keep it streamlined and keep it interesting. I feel like we're getting a lot of smaller companies right now that maybe have internet presence and retail presence. Not so many chains, but there are chains. I had an expediter call me the other day and said, "Oh my gosh, I have 2 at once. I've never had 2 at once. What's the city gonna do?" And I said, "Well, we have like 16 vacancies. 2 out of 16 isn't awful." So we're trying to create a balance. That's all I can say. It's difficult, but we're trying.
Thank you, Pam.
Any questions from anyone? Oh,
out the door.
Word on Out the Door. I don't know what's happening with Out the Door. I've heard all kinds of rumors, and I don't know what's happening, but I can find out and let Boz know. You've already presented.
Does anyone know Taylor's Son? That restaurant looks amazing in the elite space.
Oh, it looks
and I
good.
heard they have a line out the door every night.
Yeah.
Their park
really
looks beautiful too.
I was going to say one other thing. On 1700 Fillmore 2, we have an offer from a fantastic merchant, just trying to work out the lease details. And it's quite a challenging one, but a really good restaurant looking at that whole space.
That's the Dosa space?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We had offers that weren't really great. And this is a really great, like very, very interesting, well done, well thought out, well designed space, but we're running into some challenges, so I hope we get it done.
So Pam, do you feel like the retail mix experience of Fillmore, will it stay the same or is it shifting in some way?
I hope so. You know, we've had a ton of beauty people come to us and a ton of jewelry, and we're trying to balance out the mix. We love a shoe store, and you know, there's a shoe store in sight. We're kind of, how do I say this? So it's been a really weird year. Usually we're very proactive on Fillmore. We usually only get a space, maybe 2 at one time. And we really reach out to tenants that we feel like round out the balance. We try to seek out who we think would add some new dimension to the street. And right now we're really not in a position to do that. It's more like analyzing what's coming in and
Sure.
trying to convince landlords to do the right thing. As a rule, we have to present every offer we get. So it's really just trying to get the landlords
Yeah.
to focus in the right direction. So I was going to say there are going to be some food turnovers, and we haven't had any food turnovers in a while, but I think there's going to be some food turnovers. But we're getting offers every day for spaces. I think I got 3 or 4 today. So I think it's going to catch up with itself. And I think it's going to, the main street's going to have to, the main area of Fillmore is going to have to fill up, and then the ancillary areas
Sure.
will fill up after. But
That makes sense.
lots of calls. I mean, we couldn't be, I've never been
Yeah.
this busy in my life. So I feel like it's going to catch up with itself. It's going to take a few months, 1, to get the deals done, 2, to go through permitting. I've heard that the city's opened up permitting, and that they're going to be back soon. And so it's going to speed up the process a little bit. And that will be very welcome, because we really have a bad rap for being a horrible city to work with.
Sure. And, you know, just want to share like the parklets that you see around the street and around the city. They don't only benefit the restaurants. It also benefits the overall look and vitality of the street. And when you drive by Fillmore Street at night today, it looks more alive now than pre-COVID, because people are sitting outside. It's very inviting, it's engaging. And from what I hear, I know crime is still very, very high, but I feel there's more eyes and ears on the street. And I feel a lot of the outdoor diners are not being harassed by homeless people and street people. I don't get that many complaints from Fillmore or other places around the city. So that might be a benefit. And this visual vitality is really helping Pam get these spaces leased, because the street looks alive. It looks like people want to be there. So, let's just look at from a high level. Let's look at these shared spaces from a high level.
Looks a lot better than most streets. I mean, I think our parklets are better. I mean, I think that we need to, I think there need to be some standards for parklets. I'm just kind of a nut about it. And I think the nicer the parklets, you know, the nicer the street looks, but absolutely an environment. Yeah, I think a lot of merchants have hired their own security too, and it's helped a lot. I mean, it's a horrible expense to have, but I feel like it's helped a lot.
Yeah. And, you know, eventually MTA will start charging rent for some of these shared spaces, parklets. So for the merchants, for the restaurants that the parklets are working, they'll pay the rent. And for the other ones that it's not working, they'll retreat, and then it'll go back to parking. So I don't see this as a, you know, forever thing. Anyway, thank you, Pam. Wow, it's 6 o'clock.
I hope that was helpful. There's a lot going on. You guys are going to see a lot of changes soon.
Well, listen, whatever merchant has been able to hold on, they will benefit for the next, you know, 5-10 years. So let's just try to hold on. Vince, are you there?
It's going to get better. It's going to get better.
It's going to get better. It's going to just one way or the other, hold on. Vince, do you want to tell us real briefly what your project is? And then we can continue talking about it. Oh, Vince is gone.
Absolutely.
Oh, are you
here.
there?
Yeah, I'm here now. Can
Yeah,
you hear me
just
okay?
you got a couple minutes, and I want to give you some airtime. So just tell us what your vision is, your project, and how you're going to help.
Yeah, appreciate it. I reached out to Vass. I just a guy. I live here in San Francisco and they're in Richmond. I've been here since 2003, and just wanted to get more civically engaged. And I came upon helping to clean streets in our neighborhoods because it's just, you're kind of numb to the filth that we live in. But when you look around and actually try to pick it up, it's quite a big problem. So I've been doing these waste audits just to get some data on the waste that we have, and then eventually running events and organizing events and getting more people involved in volunteering time and just cleaning up their own neighborhoods, so that when I come to Fillmore Street, I benefit. When you come to the inner Richmond, you benefit as well. And my hope is to have enough of a critical mass of people doing this on their own that we can make a difference and actually have a cleaner city. Now, I know it takes more with coordination with Public Works, and there's other organizations that are focused on tangentially similar things. So I'm hoping to be kind of a focal point for that, kind of a brand and a banner to stand behind all those efforts. Why I'm speaking to you, the merchants, is that we're focusing primarily in the initial stages on the commercial business corridors and districts, because you benefit the most, and that's where the most trash is also generated. And so I'm trying to reach out to merchants to find different ways to partner. Am I able to, I can share my screen, or if you want to host, I can just walk you through. But I did, waste audit event, getting some volunteers in Compton's Coffee on Fillmore, which is new. Aiden gave up 5 free coffees for the first people to show up. So we were able to get a few volunteers out, and then count the trash. If you make me the host, I can share some info. It might be, but we did one the first time around, and we picked up. I just cleaned up the south side of Sutter and then the west side of Fillmore, and I picked up 469 pieces of litter. You might know there's a Burger King on Post, so you can imagine a lot of what we found there. And then what I wanted to do is also come back a second time, and that way we can count and see, how much trash accumulated in that week. And we came back 304. So it did make a difference. Some of the data that we're capturing says that actually cigarette butts is what gets decreased the most, because they just sit there and they're in every wedge, every corner. And this is right. I don't know, you guys probably know there's this tall residential building here. And along this gate, it's always filled with stuff. There's
it's a senior center.
Stop here. There's one trash receptacle, and then it's just a lot of high traffic. So this was the before. Hopefully I can get to an after real quick for you. And so then I just came in myself, and then cleaned up. And then there's a business over here, and a lady came out and she thanked me. And then before I left, I gave her a picker to leave it with her. I came back driving through 3 days later after dropping my kid off at a doctor's appointment, and I drove by, and it was relatively clean. That gate there was actually pretty clean. She was coming out. I don't know, maybe it didn't, maybe it got cleaned by Public Works. This is kind of the goal, so that it's just a cleaner, safer neighborhood. That broken window theory of just having a nicer street, I think will hopefully help with some of the crime issues you guys have been talking about. So here's me, picker with Compton's, and then a couple of us cleaning it up. I just, again, looking for support, get involved, hope to see you at an event. If you think of some way that you can partner and support it, or someone I should be talking to, let me
Vince,
know.
you should talk to Timothy Omi, one of our board members, for sure. And guys, I thought this is an important project to wrap our arms around, because as the city is reopening, we need to demonstrate that we're clean and safe and fun to be in again, right? So this is part of the maintenance part. And there's a lot of, I think I connected Vince to Together SF, and it's a citywide organization, collects volunteers to do these projects around the city. And I think it would be a really good project to work on Fillmore Street, and really demonstrate, show, merchants and residents that our streets are clean and safe. And it should be something that's maintained on a regular daily basis, because a lot of merchants unfortunately don't do that. So, and I get complaints like that all the time, that the street is filthy. It's all along Fillmore, not just Lower Fillmore, by the way. And then we're also in a wind tunnel, Vince. So that part of Fillmore is a notorious wind tunnel. So there's
Absolutely.
always trash flying around.
But I'll tell you what,
So,
it's the whole city. I mean, just come out for
Yeah.
a half hour with me, even in my, clean inner Richmond neighborhood, you'll be very surprised at what you'll see. And,
Sure.
Again, I'm only doing this because I'm hopeful. I can see it working. And if you look at Tokyo as an example, very similar population density to us, they actually have less trash cans than we do because they took them out for a terrorist attack.
Right.
So they have, I follow this lady on Twitter who walks around with a high def camera around Tokyo, walk around, you're like, where is the trash? Where's the dog poop? Where are the pigeons? And it's like, what's different, and it's cultural. So it's the people.
Yeah.
And, we have our own issues, San Francisco, we're talking about wind, we're the 6th windiest city. We're windier than Chicago. We're at 10.6 average mile per hour. And
I'm not
so
surprised.
that's a problem. And it's not just litter. It's not just homeless. It's not just public works can be better. It's everything.
Yeah.
So, but this is something that's tangible that we can do. And, I've been very encouraged by people like you and the merchants organizations and residents organizations that I've spoken with. And,
Yeah.
I think it has legs. And so we'll see.
I think it would be a great project, like a spring cleanup of Fillmore Street. And also demonstrate that Fillmore is open for business again.
Right. And then we
so
come
we'll-
back, and then we come back
Right.
again. And then hopefully
Right.
it's a weekly thing for the residents. I was even
Right.
thinking of maybe we give Burger King a bucket and a picker, and then if someone wants to get a free Whopper, they come in and just fill it up. Right?
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. Just
All right. all
thinking
right,
outside
all
the
right.
box.
I like
I'll head
that.
over to Tim's business, and then we'll brainstorm some things.
That's something else.
Yeah, Vince, I put my
Thank you.
contact in there. I definitely would love to help out. I've
I
actually been
appreciate
picking
it.
up that trash myself, so it's
So
definitely something yeah, for sure.
Fellow picker. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, it's 6:07. I want to thank you all for attending the meeting. We'll have a recording of it. We'll share it. And don't forget your Fillmore Merchant swag, t-shirt, bandanas. Thank you for attending.
Thank you all.
And until the next
you.
meeting.
Thanks, boss.
All right. Have a good night, y'all.
Bye, boss. Have a good night.
Bye. Take care.
So
Thank
Vaz,
you, Vince. What's
Vaz,
that?
presentation from Ishel tonight.
Yeah, she got really sick. So, it's all right. It's good.
All right, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Okay, bye. Patty, you want to stay for a minute?
Sure.
Just wrap up.
Yeah.
Oops, my camera goes off. Well, that was a good meeting.
Well, let me finish. Sometimes
Yeah.
people walk away from their accounts. It's just you and me.
Cool. I want to ask you a big favor. It's Small Business Week next week. It's also APA Heritage Month. And I'm creating some programs for Small Business Week. And I have a newsletter that we put together. Can you wrap that up and put it into a Fillmore newsletter and then send it out?
Yeah, send it to me.
Yeah, I'll send it. All right. Well, I mean, it's encouraging. A lot of these spaces are being leased out.
Very good news. I mean, that was probably the most exciting part of the meeting, and I couldn't even keep up because there was something going on. Somebody, you can't just unmute. You can mute everyone, or you have to mute people one by one. So if I had muted everyone, I would have muted Pam, and she was on a roll.
Oh, okay.
I had to work through the whole thing, because the people who were chatting and doing things were not actually really present in the meeting. So that was
Yeah, it seems so odd to me that people are not aware of their surroundings.
they're in their stores and they're taking, they'll take a call.
Yeah, that's true.
Let me just go ahead and